Welcome everybody to the third review of the book. It's got to be some sort of a joke. Welcome to Flat Earth. The Earth is not flat, of course. And by John Stunja and Adam Meakin. Now, John Stunja did not like the first reviews that I did of this book. He got rather bothered by them and did a copyright strike on one, which will fall off because there's I'm pretty sure he's not going to actually file a suit. That'd be a pretty instant and guaranteed loss on his part. Now, who is John Stunja? Well, this is a picture of him that he posted on Facebook. This was publicly available. He also filed a privacy strike on some of my videos. Now, if you've posted a photograph of yourself on a public website, there is no expectation of privacy. So, John Stunja, this picture has no expectation of privacy. So when you file a privacy complaint on it, you are being dishonest. Same with this picture. Same with this picture. Same with this picture. So if you don't like these pictures of you floating around the internet, then you should not have made them available on Facebook. That's on you. And then, here's a picture of him in a room alone. This room contains all the people that like him. Now I just wanted to cover briefly here the details of the copyright strike that he did here. And so this is on the Flurf wiki. If you go to flurf.info, you can find it. And, by the way, this is his credentials. When he talks about his credentials, he does have a bachelor's of science in clinical dietetics and nutrition. Whatever that is, I'm sure it's a fantastic degree, but it doesn't qualify him to have credentials in the philosophy of science or really in anything related to the shape of the earth. That's not to say that people can't have opinions on it. That's just to say that if you're going to brag about credentials, being a dietitian is not the credentials to be bragging about. So here is the frivolous copyright strike that he filed against me here. And on Monday, it will have been 10 business days, I think. And so that will be the day where he will have an opportunity to have proven that he filed copyright lawsuit against me, which of course would be ridiculous because a book review is fully covered by fair use, or it will automatically get dropped by YouTube. So, good for that. And then he did these frivolous privacy complaints here. He had some timestamps in the videos here that he complained about. These videos are temporarily not visible, but they will be reviewed most likely. Anyway, I don't know what it was that he didn't like. Maybe it was the photo of himself. And yeah, that's an embarrassing photo. He looks ridiculous there. But I have a feeling that's the same face he has every day of his life, poor guy. And then another one was at this time frame here. Maybe he didn't want his email address, quantumeracer2000@gmail.com. Anyway, all this information is available on flurf.info. So anything that he's trying to suppress, well, it's not going to get suppressed. You're not going to win at any suppression here. Anyway, and then I got some all these pictures of him here. Yeah, anyway, you were warned. So there you go. Let's get to some of this other stuff. So anyway, so what happened is he didn't like that, and this is what he did. This is basically him. Poor baby John. Anyway. John Stunja is a coward, a raging coward. This is hilarious. This, somebody called Designing Hawaii one time commented on one of my videos, daring me to debate Quantum Eraser and saying, I bet you won't. I'm like, oh, you bet I will. I have an opening June 9th. Now, this is a while ago, a couple years ago. Right instantly, I'm like, here, let him know I'm available that time. And I say, bet he won't. And I said, you debate me too. Bet you won't, right? Love this. I love this. And what does he do? He says, not only will we both debate you, but you and your religion will be obliterated and you will give us great content. Sign us up. So I did. I signed both of them up. Yep, there it is. I put them on the calendar. Be sure to have QE confirmed. See the video description on my website for contact info. And then shortly after that, this guy who is working as an intermediary between myself and Quantum Eraser, forwards this message from Quantum Eraser. $1,000 in my PayPal from McToon. I don't do retards for free. So, not only is he scared to debate me, right? But he's put up not just a wall, like a ridiculous wall. Why would anybody pay $1,000 for him to debate? Like he doesn't get sitting fees for presentations at all. Like this isn't it. Anyway, once the $1,000's in my account, I will send him the debate format. He's going to demand the format. He wants me to pay and then he's going to specify the format. That's adorable. It's a take it or leave it. Right. Good. So he won't. He's scared. As I said, bet he won't, and he won't. Yes, Quantum Eraser is absolutely chicken scared to debate me live. And then, so I sent him a message on Discord. I said, testing to see if I'm blocked. Hey, you found the courage to unblock. Good job. So then he says, well, this here, and he posts a video where it's just basically him doing insults, no science, and then blocked me. I said, going to block me again, Sir Robin? I couldn't even send that because he had blocked me. That's how much of a coward he is. Amazing that it's so predictable how much of an absolute coward he is. Okay, anyway, here is the book. Welcome to Flat Earth. Certainly a joke of a book. So I've done the reviews before. The first review, I covered a little bit of the absolute sarcasm that must be like he said that Brian's logic. Brian's logic. It has to be sarcasm because he claimed that Brian's logic is let's see, a true autodidactic scholar whose breakdown of Einstein's theory are legendary among us. Brian's logic is a bumbling idiot. Nothing about Brian's logic could ever be considered smart by any human ever. In my second review, I covered the sea sparrow. Right, here's a photo of the sea sparrow. And there's one citation in this entire book talking about the distance of the sea sparrow, of how far it goes. His premise is, of course, that the ship that it's on can illuminate using radar a distant target. That's his premise. And where's his supporting evidence for that? A distant target that's too far for the globe. Okay. And where is that? Well, he does have this here, a little citation here, a speed of Mach 4 and a range of more than 50 kilometers, right? And that's true. That is in there, but the Sea Sparrow is both a surface to surface missile and a surface to air missile. Number one. So 50 kilometers surface to air, not a problem. No curve of the earth in the way. Number two, this is actually just the range of the motor in it. It's not any reference to whether or not it has ever once successfully sighted from one ship to the sighting ship, an actual target. There's zero citation. So he's got pages and pages, and this is apparently one of the best, like he's super proud of it, one of the best proofs in his mind of flat earth. And the best thing that he has actually is a claim that the motor can go 50 kilometers on a surface to surface and surface to air missile. Furthermore, other ships can illuminate the target, not just the firing ship. So it's completely ridiculous. Of course, he did not like that this video exposed how ridiculous his best flat earth claim was. Anyway, today I will be covering this one here. This is his celestial navigation. So here we go. Look at that. So this is how he thinks celestial navigation is done. You've got the position of the observer on the ground. You've got the star in the sky, and then you've got the GP of the star, which is the point on the surface of the Earth where that's directly below the star. So where, there's a spot on the surface of the Earth that if you stand there and you look straight up, you'll see the star, right? And so he says this forms a triangle where you have one real linear side here, that's the distance from the observer to the GP, and one real linear distance, that's the surface of the Earth, the flat Earth, according to him, all the way up to the real physical spot in three-dimensional space where the star is. And then this length here, this is the hypotenuse. This is a real physical length that he's claiming. These are all real lengths and real angles that he's claiming. If these weren't the case, then this wouldn't be a diagram that he'd put in his book, right? So he's saying that this is the actual physical thing. So according to him, you can actually, from knowing your position and knowing the distance you are from the GP, with this angle, you've got angle, side, angle. That means you can solve the whole triangle and you can get the height of the triangle. Now, if you did that, what would happen? Well, for example, if you're at 45 degrees north, right here, and you sight to Polaris, which is about a half a degree from 90 degrees north, which is the North Pole and the center of the dirt pizza that he thinks the Earth is, then that you've got that distance, which is 45 degrees latitude, which is then you can multiply that by 60 nautical miles per degree or 111 kilometers per degree, and that gives you the linear distance across the surface. Now, if you're at 45 degrees north, like in Minneapolis, for example, where I've measured it myself, then you've got a 45 degree here, you've got a 45 degree here. And that means that whatever distance this is across the surface of the Earth from 45 degrees north to the North Pole, it's the exact same distance here. That's how high the star must be. That's quantum eraser's claim, is that whatever distance that is, and that distance happens to be 5,000 kilometers. We know that because the definition of the kilometer is that there's 10,000 kilometers from the North Pole to the equator, and 45 degrees north is halfway. That's 5,000 kilometers. So according to Quantum Eraser, Polaris is 5,000 kilometers high if you measure it in Minneapolis. The problem is, if you apply this same diagram, Quantum Eraser's own claim about how the geometry works and how celestial navigation works, then you measure it at 30 degrees north latitude. And you'll do the same trigonometry. You've got the length here. You've got angle, side, angle. And then that gives you the height of the star, real physical height of the star above the surface of the Earth for flat Earth. And it's a different height when you're at 30 degrees north. Weird. If you go to the equator, this angle here is 0, approximately. And so that means that the height of the star has to be 0. Polaris literally needs to be resting on the surface of the North Pole, right on the ice, according to Quantum Eraser's geometry here. Now, obviously that doesn't work. We have just falsified flat Earth completely right there. Thank you for that falsification, Quantum Eraser. Now, let's go into his misunderstanding of how it works on the globe. And you can see here, he says, this is amazing. The average person remains unaware that the spherical definition of Earth is predicated on first measuring it as a plane. Is that the case? Says it's achieved by utilizing the fact that all navigational angles are calculated with respect to a uniform horizontal equatorial plane. Well, that's simply not true. That is not how celestial navigation is done. He has just made a claim about it, right? He has claimed this right here, which we just falsified. We just falsified this. So it can't be the case that what he's saying is correct. Now, he does have some diagrams here that are somewhat accurate, it looks like, right? I don't generally have a problem with these. But now here we get into the trouble. He says, please understand this. He says, there's no possible way to obtain an elevation angle measurement from a curved surface. It is geometrically impossible? Really? Well, we're about to get into a little bit of geometry, but don't worry, people. This is middle school geometry, significantly above the head of any flat earther, but the rest of you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. He says, it would defy the fundamental principles of triangles. Now, there's no triangles involved. That's why it's not a problem. He says, no triangle, whether isosceles, scalene, equilateral, acute, obtuse, or even a right angle triangle, as you may remember from primary school, can have any of its three sides as a curved line. Well, that's not what we do. So not a problem at all. And then he goes into this talking about a triangle. This is a real quote from somebody saying, the height of the sun, of the sky, is called its altitude. Angular altitude, if you want to be a little more precise. And so the altitude is always an angle to be measured in degrees or minutes. The point directly overhead is the zenith. The angle between the lines drawn to the horizon and zenith is 90 degrees, or a right angle. Now, this one actually isn't quite correct. Whoever wrote this isn't quite on there, because the angle between the lines drawn to horizon and zenith is 90 degrees. It is not. That is not the case. Let me show you what is in fact the case. So the way it actually works is right here. So here you see we've got the height of the eye, and you've got, which is not on the surface, right? The people using a sextant or measuring the angle aren't submerged in water, and then their instrument is like right on the surface of water. No, they're somewhere above the water. They're on a ship. It can be 10 feet above the surface of the water, or it can be 200 feet above the surface of the water for a large vessel. It doesn't matter. These things can be accounted for. Furthermore, it could be on land if you have a line of sight to the water, or if you use something like a mirror or a gazing pool. You can use that, and you can do the same thing doing these measurements. So it's very important to understand that when Quantum Eraser is writing the things in this book here, he is intentionally misleading people, because right here on this diagram, you can see, number one, there's no triangles. Number two, there's no problem with the geometry here. He says it's physically impossible, or he said it's geometrically impossible, yet here I am showing you the geometry. This is not geometrically impossible. It's geometrically 100% possible. All right. So anyway, so here's the line A there goes off toward the star, and the horizon line, that's the angle down. That one is just grazing the surface of the horizon, which is the curved surface of the sphere. Now, they will say that's not possible. I'll show you in a second that it's completely possible. And then at the point at which the star intersects the surface of the earth is like right there, circled in red. So that right there, his quote that he got there is incorrect. This is the correct geometry. It is possible to have incorrect quotes, and what Quantum Eraser has done is he had searched high and low for an incorrect quote that does not describe celestial navigation correctly. And another thing they do is they find some diagrams that are incorrect. This is correct, and you can verify this by Daniel Birch has a book called Celestial Navigation. You can download it. You can buy it on Amazon, and he's an expert. He understands it. You can read that book, and then you too can learn how to do celestial navigation. A couple other quick diagrams right here. You can see that's not a triangle, right? And this is, let's say you're right on the surface. Well, there you go. Not a triangle. You see that? There's no triangles there. There's just two different angles. You've got the angle from zenith to the line of sight to the star or sun, and you've got the horizontal, the tangent at that surface to the sun. Two angles, no triangles, no curve on the angle there. Here you can see an actual physical demonstration how easy it is. So when he claims the geometry is not possible, obviously he's completely wrong. We can do another one right here. And now I will really, to absolutely demolish any notion that this isn't possible, I will demonstrate how to do it using using your own phone and a sphere. Anyway, take it away. Oh, I didn't take it away yet. Hold on. Here we go. I have right here a sphere. Nathan Oakley, the flat earther, claims that you cannot get an elevation angle from a sphere. Well, I just did. From this sphere, I used a camera on my phone, put it right on the top of it, took a picture. You can see the horizon of the sphere, and you can see points above it. For example, look at the horizon of the sphere here, and maybe the tip of the top of the rocket. Could you measure an elevation angle between the horizon and the top of that rocket? Certainly you could. That's not difficult at all. If you wanted to do some work to figure out where the horizon is in relation to the tangent plane where the camera is sitting, that you can also do. And it doesn't make the sphere stop being a sphere. Nathan, you have tried to tell me more than 50 times that you cannot measure an angle to a sphere. And I just showed you how. So, amazing. I wrote down from that, from my measurement there, the angle upward to the rocket, the top of the rocket was 15.8 degrees, and the angle down to the horizon was 29.9 degrees. So I, in fact, very easily was able to measure an angle. So even though Quantum Eraser says that you can't do it, he says it's geometrically impossible, I have proven that he is completely incorrect in that. He says an elevation angle is a right angle triangle. It certainly is not. Now, if the Earth were flat, I suppose, then he could do that, but we've already falsified it. Now, what does Quantum Eraser do? Quantum Eraser has gotten a clip of me talking to somebody, describing to a flat earther how he would need to do a celestial navigation. And it was intentionally cropped and edited to make it appear that I was saying something I didn't say. And Quantum Eraser regularly quotes that and posts that video. It is a lie to do that. Now, Quantum Eraser pretends that he's a good Christian boy. Good Christian boy wouldn't do that. So he has falsified the premise that he's a good Christian boy. Not only that, but you could just listen to him talk for a little bit and holy cow, no fruit on the tree. Anyway, so he goes on, he really belabors this point here. And then he does say, he says, when many Glober Crusaders insist that they can measure an angle to a curved surface. Well, I just showed you. The statement is technically correct. Oh, thank you. But deliberately misleading because in a straight line taken to a surface, we only take to one point. That's fine. No problem with that. This will create an angle, but it is important to note that if the line were to intercept any other point on the curved surface, an entirely different angle will result. Yup. No problem at all. When we take an elevation angle, it's always taken from the surface. I will clarify why that distinction matters. Well, in fact, it's not taken from the surface unless somehow the observer had their eyeball half submerged in the water. The angles are always taken above the surface. as this diagram shows here. So I don't know why he would say something like that. It is completely ridiculous. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of his celestial navigation stuff. Now there's a little bit of a challenge here. I've got a little challenge for a Quantum Eraser. Quantum Eraser, which one of these is a triangle? A or B? You could submit your homework in crayon. I will accept that. Please try to reduce the drool on the crayon, if you would. Okay. Anyway, so now I'd like to show you this here. So it's been several years since Quantum Eraser and his good buddy Nathan Oakley have been claiming that celestial navigation works on flat Earth, and they always, oh, the light just went out. They always like to point to this diagrams like this right here, right? And they claim this is how it works, right? That's their claim. Well, okay, I'll give you a chance to do that, and I'll pay you $10,000 to do it. On February 19, I didn't even put the year in. I think it was 2022. And no flat earther has used this particular method here to try. A couple have tried different methods, but they all use the globe in the end to do it. But the point is, here is right here on screen, real angles. I published this in 2022, real angles, 2 stars. And these are what I call globe elevation angles. Now, the flat earthers will call them flat earth elevation angles. That's fine. Show how it works. No flat earthers done it. They haven't used them. They all use the globe to do it. So Quantum Eraser and Nathan Oakley, good buddies there. You guys, you can't do what you said you can do. Right? $10,000. Just to do what you said was possible, you'd get $10,000. And if he's too altruistic, I'm sure he's too altruistic to try to claim that kind of money. He would just do it to humiliate me. But you know what? They never did. They never did it to humiliate me. They just sat there in their echo chambers and did nothing. Completely failed to do celestial navigation using the method that they said works for celestial navigation. An amazing demonstration by them that it doesn't work. Because if it did work, they would just do it and then they would collect the money. They would at least say, their excuses are, well, he doesn't have the money. Well, it would certainly be humiliating for you to do it. Right? If you can do it, then even if the money wasn't in escrow. Now, to be fair, I did take down the monetary portion of that challenge in 2024. The money had to go elsewhere. But Flatties, if you think you can, Quantum Eraser and friends, if you think this works, then go right ahead. Send me an email. I'll get the money put back in escrow, and you can do it. So anyway, I am going to this is going to be about it. Now, I do want to say here that I have a video that has been made just for this for Quantum Eraser. So let me see. Here it is. Okay. This is by Harnold. This is not the completed version. It is the beta version, if you will. And so I will play this on the way out of the recorded portion of this. And thank you very much to everybody who's joined along and everybody who's watching live. Make sure you stick around because I'm not done yet. Everybody, welcome to Quantum Eraser Paper Tiger.
on a Discord with the doors bolted shut, where the mods kick the dissenters and the doubters get cut. Every chatter is a soldier, every soldier knows the song. Numpty, Baltardy, Votar, and they sing along. He stares at the planet from behind the locked door, calls his audience the army, and his ego is the war. He won't take a debate that he didn't get to call. He won't show on the stream where he doesn't run it all. But the moment that a critic puts a book review online, he's not a debater anymore. He's a clerk on the line. He fires up his email, he files every form. The Louisville Slugger is a takedown swarm. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't take the heat, couldn't take a book review without a takedown sheet. Filed a copyright strike, filed a privacy claim. The bravest little flurf, hiding from his name. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the door, but he'll lock down a critic with the copyright war. Couldn't toggle friends only on his profile wall. Wrote a whole book that he says explains it all. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook. He read one freshman handout, called it the only way. Now he chants the scientific method every single day. He decided astronomy and cosmology are trash. Geology, paleontology, a 4 billion year flash. He says gas needs a container or the globe can't hold air. He says Einstein had no hypothesis worth a care. He says Newton renounced gravity, but he stops in the middle. The very next line would have solved the riddle. He explains it to his cult while they nod and they bow. Every misread is a sermon, every misquote a vow. And when the world says John just read what you skipped, he fires up the takedown till the channel gets clipped. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't take the heat, couldn't take a book review without a takedown sheet. Filed a copyright strike, filed a privacy claim. The bravest little flurf, hiding from his name. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the door, but he'll lock down a critic with a copyright war. Couldn't toggle friends only on his profile wall. Wrote a whole book that he says explains it all. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook. April 13, McToon reviewed his book online. Critical mocking fair use, every clip within the line. April 16, book review 2 went up the same way, with photos that John posted to a public profile display. A few hours later, the takedown emails flew. Copyright strike for a critique on his fair use review, plus 3 privacy strikes on a face he made known. On the same Facebook page he had publicly grown. He's got a Louisville Slugger with the nails in the wood, but he won't leave his server like a real prophet would. He talks about the woodshed, talks about the fiery squad, but the threats are all hot air from a digital god. The cult is the cage and the cage is the cult, and the prophet loves the bars cause he knows he's the result. Numpty, Baltar, Mr. Magoo on the wall, but the bravest little flurf can't stand up to a call. Debate on a stream, won't argue without pay, won't show up on a podcast, won't show up on the day, but he'll click submit on a YouTube takedown form. The bravest little flurf in a privacy storm. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't take the heat, couldn't take a book review without a takedown sheet. Filed a copyright strike, filed a privacy claim. The bravest little flurf, hiding from his name. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the door, but he'll lock down a critic with a copyright war. Couldn't toggle friends only on his profile wall. Wrote a whole book that he says explains it all. Couldn't lock the Facebook, couldn't lock the Facebook. Set your photos private, John, you're the one who said you're smarter, who said you understood the cosmos better than its starter. Couldn't lock the Facebook. Couldn't lock the Facebook. And as usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Mouse!